on getting those energy efficient uh, apparati
So,
into
Ernest,
the.
Ernest, is there anything you would like to add?
I think you did a great job explaining that, Ty. One big differentiator between these two rebate programs is the home electrification and appliance rebate program, HERA, on the left is purely only for low and moderate income households, while the rebate on the right, the homes rebate, that is applicable to all households, but the rebate is higher. There's more incentive for moderate and low income households.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And that's a key distinction to carry forward as we move through this presentation, as you're thinking about, the ways that you can engage within these programs once the rebates roll out later this year into 2025. And there's a bit of a differential as well in the amount of funding and what the federal rebate amounts look like. So this is courtesy of South Base. Thank you again to Ernest. The federal rebates for energy efficiency at home for the HERO program is looking at about $4.5 billion in high efficiency electric home appliances for low-income households, so more focused on LMI households. And then home efficiency and rebate program, or the HOMES program, is about $4.3 billion for whole home retrofits in a single family and multifamily household. So that's about the split that they're looking at from the federal level going out to each state. Let me make sure.
Yeah, is there any like to add there, Ernest?
Yeah, just some further clarification on the allocations for both the rebate programs. It's about $109 million per rebate program. So a significant amount of money that's going to be coming to Georgia, and hopefully soon.
Indeed. Indeed. All right.
So how do home energy rebate programs help frontline communities? First, I'd be interested in hearing in the chat, when you think of a frontline community, who do you think of? What do you think of when you hear that term? And I ask that because as we get a little further in, we'll see where that term or the term disadvantaged community really is left up to interpretation for GFA, the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, to determine when they're distributing these dollars, these $109 million for both programs.
Michelle Dawkins said communities with the highest energy burdens. Mm-hmm. That could be one indicator. Yeah.
Absolutely. Historical disinvestment.
Mm-hmm. That's one indicator. Yes. Yes. Awesome.
So just to recap really quick, the rebate programs serve as an option for homeowners to increase their home's climate resiliency and save money on energy bills. And when we think about frontline communities and who our frontline communities are, they tend to have the most severe energy burdens. So programs that emphasize weatherization, like the HERO program, can really help not only ease energy costs, but also increase home health overall. So just in case you're unfamiliar with the term energy burden, it is defined by the Department of Energy as the percentage of gross household income spent on energy costs during the month, usually is how it's calculated, or over the year. So generally, an affordable energy bill is recognized as 6% or less of anyone's gross income. So anything more than 6% is considered energy burdened, but more than 10% is considered a severe energy burden. We're here in Atlanta. Our team is based in Atlanta for the most part, in Metro Atlanta area, and we have the 7th highest energy burden in the nation as a city. So that means on average, people are paying, I believe the statistic is about 4.5% of their income within the city just on energy costs. which compared to the national average, that believe the national average is closer to 3.3%.
And in some places, it's 3 times that amount.
Exactly.
And so, and also, Leah just put in how high are our household energy burdens. You can look that up yourself and see which area that you're in, how that plays out with you. But we have some of, not only in Atlanta, but throughout Georgia, we have some of the highest energy burdens throughout the country. But I would like to say it's not a burden to you if you can pay for it. If you cannot afford to pay for it, you know, that's when you have displacement and other things that come along with the burden.
Exactly. And that's leads perfectly into our next slide. As Adrienne said, energy burden usually can be a higher energy burden is usually an indicator of, you know, the unaffordability of other aspects of life, right? So if the energy bill is high and it's hard to pay, the rent is probably high and hard to pay too, or the mortgage is probably high and difficult to maintain. The property taxes are probably high and difficult to maintain. So according to the American Council for Energy Efficiency Economy, which Leah dropped the link in the chat to this article, low-income households, predominantly Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, renters, and older adult households all have disproportionately higher energy burdens than the national median household. They find that the median national energy burden is about 3.1%, and that the median low-income household energy burden is 3.5 times higher, as Adrienne said, than the non-low income household energy burden. So that's 8.1% of your income versus 2.3%, which is the average. So what does this tell us? It tells us a few things, but definitely that energy burden is a serious wealth issue as well. So if you think about it for a second, there are so many things that you could do with money that's spent on energy bills if they went to other financial priorities, like a rent or mortgage payment. In their 2022 paper, Driving Displacement, Greenlink Analytics found households that cannot afford to pay energy bills frequently cannot afford other costs of living items such as rent, which creates an eviction risk that can result in displacement. And they show this relationship in their equity map, which is depicted right here. And this equity map, or this screen grab of it, has an overlay of energy burdens above 6% and the eviction rate, particularly in one Atlanta neighborhood, which if you're familiar with the layout of Atlanta or you live here, where Mercedes-Benz Stadium is, this is where English Avenue and Vine City is located. And in, excuse me, Vine City, they experience an energy burden of about 7.5% based on their the income and the average number of people living in the area. But that's compared to 4.5% for the entire city of Atlanta on average. So a 3%, almost twice as much, is what they pay for their energy. And then they also faced a higher eviction rate. So an eviction rate of 9.5% compared to 5.7%. That is the Atlanta average eviction rate. And that's according to WABE with the 5.7% eviction rate. So our eviction rates are high, some of the highest in the country. I believe we're fourth in highest eviction rates in Atlanta, and then we're seventh in highest energy burden. So people are struggling, right? And especially when we're talking about the potential for something like a home energy rebate to help ease some of that cost burden in weatherizing your home and lowering your energy bills, it becomes really, really important to focus on, you know, how feasible is this for low to middle income communities, predominantly people of color communities, because we need it. in order to stay in our homes and increase climate resilience.
Indeed.
So there's a few barriers to participating in this program. And the barriers,
And I wanted to chime in on these barriers because, um, it's a rebate. So we all know what a rebate is, right? So you have to pay for it first, right? And if you do not have money, then, to even put in the rebate, that's a big problem. That's very problematic, right? So especially if you're already struggling the way that Ty has talked about, then money is an issue. So that's one thing that we need to be talking about. And that was going to be your question, one of my questions, indeed. So it is a rebate. It's a rebate. So this only can benefit folks. And we wanted to just, put it out there that this is going to be an issue for people. And so this is what we need to be bringing up to GFA and all of these folks that are creating. Now they're in the process of creating this application. Like, this is great for people who got money to pay for the rebate, but what about for the other folks who do not? Then the other issue that we have that is here, that is a barrier, and obviously we can talk about this more, is that Atlanta is becoming a renter's capital. Georgia is becoming a renter's capital. So nobody has a home. We don't have homes. And it's becoming harder and harder for us to acquire these homes, because when you have 3 corporations that are buying up 20,000 homes and renting out these homes, and it makes it raises the price and the cost of living and everything that's up here. So, I was on a call today where, somebody said that Atlanta was the Black Mecca. Yeah, we the Black Mecca, but it ain't in money, and it ain't never been with money, because this has been working class folks, probably lower middle class folks primarily, that are here in this Atlanta. So these are things like we are showing this rebate. We wanted to show this because this is coming up. And as a community, and we're going to be talking about more stuff too on the next slide, as a community, we do have some opportunity to talk to GFA about this, but it's an issue, it's a problem. So we don't want you to think that at SGF or at Southface, we're ducking our head in the sand around this issue, because we understand it too. And when we come together like this, we're trying to figure out how we can get around this and we can really help people.
So in essence, Adrian, I don't know if this is okay, but so the people that would really be benefiting would be the landlords and not the people who are actually paying the bills.
Exactly. And I think it should be something to be said, Michelle, about the fact that I don't think any of this GFA money should be going to landlords, especially not corporate landlords. And as GFA is having these community meetings, which as soon as we find out about it, I'm sure as soon as Southface find out about it, we're going to be letting people know in our social media and everything. And you all need to jump on and make those statements. Like, do not, because one of the things we do not do with the Weatherize campaign is if we run into someone when we're knocking on the doors, if somebody is renting and they're like, well, let me get you in contact with my landlord, we say no. We only want to talk to homeowners, because we do not want to help this person who owns this home fix up this home and then evict you and displace you. Okay, that is not what we're trying to do. So we understand these barriers. All right, next slide.
And particularly to that end as well, one of a key problem could be, there have been instances where landlords have asked their tenants to front the bill for energy efficiency programs. knowing that the landlord will get the kickback on the rebate, right? And not the renter who fronted their money. Sure, they may say that like, oh, you may get a discount on your rent or whatever, but that renter is still paying the energy bill at the end of the day. So it can be a convoluted mess if we're not holding GFA accountable as to what they define even as a disadvantaged community, right? And that kind of leads us into and who they define that this program could really benefit the most. And that leads us into, some of the advocacy recommendations that we have that we could present to GFA as they're building out this application for homeowners and landlords, renters to fill out to apply for these rebates.
And Ernest, and I would love if you would, because we were just talking about this before, if you could come off and with Ty.
Yeah, definitely. Happy to.
Okay.
So some of the advocacy recommendations include expanding the definition of who is considered disadvantaged, right? And that could look a myriad of ways. One of the recommendations is for there to be a tier system for the funding, so that it broadens the scope for how many people can apply for the funding, and prioritizes different communities who may have the highest need and have the depth of service reach those communities first. Also looking at folks who may be new homeowners potentially, and looking at how these programs can benefit them, but not just leaving all of the keys in the hands of the landlords, making sure that renters and tenants have rights as they're moving forward within this process. And Ernest, I'll turn it over to you if there are other advocacy recommendations that South Face and other community partners are considering that homeowners may be thinking about if they could speak directly to GFA about this application as it's being built.
Yeah, of course. There's a plethora of recommendations, but some of the ones that come to my mind that I think are most important are the ones that you've touched upon, Ty. I think especially consumer protections around renters. I think that's really, really important, especially with what Adrian was just saying. As well as one of the things that a lot of advocates think will be really helpful is allowing for stacking and intertwining different funds, whether it be from the state, federal government with these rebates, or even with your utility or your EMC, allow the GFA in their application stating that and allowing flexibility with stacking and intertwining these incentives. That seems to be like a really important thing, and it'll allow individuals that don't have as much ability to purchase these items. It'll reduce that cost as much as possible, making it more accessible, as well as designing the point of sale rebates to be accessible to people, maybe not making people create an account through a website and having to have broadband access to then utilize these rebates. Instead, maybe designing it so at the store, there's some way that you can quickly utilize those rebates, and your information is tracked and you're kept in the system. But as what you were saying earlier, Ty, what I just mentioned, I think it's really important, especially as once GFA submits that application and further down the line, that application defines that there must be community engagement sessions. So these are important things to be thinking about and be bringing up in those future sessions.
Thank you so much, Ernest. And as you were speaking and talking about stacking programming, something that SGF we've been doing with the Weatherize program, is there are so many programs that are already in existence from utilities. I'm thinking specifically with Georgia Power. They have the EASE program that already requires an income qualification to participate. And they do what is outlined within the Homes initiative under this rebate program and helping you weatherize your home, get a free energy audit, discuss energy recommendations or recommendations for increasing energy efficiency in your home. So being able to stack those programs and the idea of going to a retailer and being able to track them within a system, I think those are brilliant. And, you know, the biggest thing when it comes to programs like this is making it as easeful for the people who are receiving that programming as possible, right? So if you're a homeowner, you're receiving a rebate or you're receiving a free energy audit through the EASE program, you're receiving free weatherization services through Weatherize ATL, whatever the program is or whatever it looks like, if you want it to be impactful, make it as seamless as possible for the homeowner. None of us on this call need one extra thing to stress about how we're going to get, you know, the maximum benefit from something that was supposed to be designed for our benefit, right? So especially as GFA is looking down the line at receiving these program dollars, they need to have that as a top of mind consideration.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, especially as we were just talking, individuals have to make sacrifices to pay their energy bill. Maybe they won't be able to afford medicine or a meal on a day. Making it as easy as possible is key. And I want to add two other things as we think further down the line, once this program is in place, ensuring that there's measuring of metrics and the equity impacts of these programs to continuously look at how it's doing and if there's flexibility to improve it, as well as transparency and having accessible information for the public, which kind of goes along with program evaluation and impacts. But thank you.
And gotta agree, I love the volleying here. It's really impeccable. As they're building out these community engagement strategies too, the intention behind the community engagement, right? Making sure that we're not having meetings at 9 o'clock on a Thursday, being really intentional about how we're talking to our communities, and talking with our communities, to be honest, and making sure that things feel relevant and immediate to homeowners is so important. Yeah, I thought I had a different end to that sentence, but I think that was it. So I think we're going to move on to another recommendation, is something that we've seen mirrored in similar programming coming down from the federal government, particularly tied to the Inflation Reduction Act, like this program is. The Inflation Reduction Act has a portion within it known as the Justice 40, which well, I don't believe
It's Justice 40. So basically what it is it's a baseline, but it could be more. Is 40% of the benefits that are coming down from the IRA. So these billions of dollars, frontline communities, BIPOC communities, communities that have had to deal with energy issues. When these corporations or companies or anyone who, if they are trying to be aligned with Justice 40, then at least 40% of the benefits is supposed to go with that. So what we can ask for at GFA, right? What we can do when they having those community, conversations is we can ask them, are you all in line with Justice 40? Right. And so right now we see that funding is coming down from the IRA, funding is coming back from Build, the BIL, it's coming down, it's billions and billions of dollars that are coming to Georgia, not the rest of the country, just to Georgia, right? And so these companies, we need to be aware and looking at energy corporations that are here so that we can hold and make sure, because what they will do and what we are finding that they are doing is they are checking the box with this, because this is 20% of the application process. If you're a corporation and you're trying to, let's say, open a battery place, or you're trying to do anything with energy or anything like that, they know they have to engage with us. So, and they are asking us to write them letters of recommendations so that they can, for the proposal, so that they can be considered from the DOE, from the DOL, because what people don't understand with the IRA, it is not just in the DOE. It is not just in the Department of Labor. It is transportation. It is across the board. This money is across the board, and they have to do that. So we just want to, we've done a whole thing on community benefits plan, and we just want to keep it top of mind for you all, especially when you're in these meetings, so that you can ask these questions. All right.
Yeah, and I'll just add real quick, if that's okay, that
Yes,
40% is the requirement. And a lot of advocates are saying we need to make that 100% of the funds going to these disadvantaged communities, those that need it most, and we will be most impacted.
Indeed, indeed.
Exactly.
I think we go to the next one, and all right, I'm gonna put myself on mute because I don't know about this.
Something that you know, we're learning as we go along, and I feel like that is the mantra of the Inflation Reduction Act, right? Is there's so much funding coming down, and there's so many different pockets of resources and different types of groups that are getting funding through this federal act. So some of it is coming through states like the rebate program. Some of it is coming directly to private sector and utilities like Southern Company, Georgia Power, Alabama Power, Mississippi Power, what have you, right? Some of it is coming directly to community-based organizations or non-governmental organizations, like Sustainable Georgia Futures, like Southface, to help, you know, serve as hubs to help build resiliency within communities, to connect some of this funding directly down to the communities as well. And to Ernest's earlier point, that's where stacking these tax credits can be really beneficial, because if you have pockets of funding that are flowing down, if that $109 million for just one of the rebate programs is flowing down to, you know, different contractors and different private sector organizations or private sector businesses to deliver these retrofits to help homeowners select energy efficient appliances, then we should be able to stack those things up so that homeowners get the maximum benefit, so that renters, once considered, you know, in a way that is going to help people stay within their homes and not be displaced, regardless of their ownership status, then they'll be able to reap the maximum benefit. So there are 5 ways to save with IRA tax credits. One is to go renewable. So there are a couple of programs to help with getting solar panels. There's a big push for community solar, and lots of movement in the works for that. There are programs like Georgia Bright, which is a solar leasing program that's starting up or may already be underway, for people to kind of extend I like to think of it as Klarna or Affirm, you know, those 4 payment or multi-payment options for you to buy a solar panel or solar panels to outfit your home, wind turbines, battery storage. So increasing the amount of renewable energy that's coming into the home so that you're relying less on fossil fuels to warm your home or heat your home. Get pumped within investing in heat pump solutions, being more efficient, so upgrading water heaters, air conditioners, and certain stoves, going ahead and insulating homes. Y'all, I don't know about how y'all felt about the cold snap earlier this week, but the insulation is key, okay? And through some of these rebates and tax credits, you know, using that opportunity to try to insulate your home as much as possible, especially like any add-on areas, bonus rooms, and things that may skip the traditional insulation process, making sure that those are insulated and doors and windows are properly caulked and sealed so the energy isn't escaping your home. As my grandma used to say, making sure that everything is shut tight so that none of the good air gets out the house. And also asking a pro, getting a home energy assessment. Energy auditing is a rapidly growing field, and we have quite a few energy auditors throughout the state of Georgia who can help test your building envelope. So, all of anything that touches the outside, making sure that it is properly sealed in a way that all the stuff that's meant to stay inside stays in, and all the stuff that's meant to stay outside stays out. And also able to provide you with some recommendations on ways that you can make just a few changes. Some of them are free behavioral changes to make sure that you can save on your energy bills as well. Ernest, I'll turn it to you. If there's anything else, that's coming top of mind for you as other ways that tax credits can be stacked with the IRA.
Yeah, I think you did a great job of explaining that. I just want to explain or highlight that tax credits, you have to have tax liability, or you have to have taxes to pay. So unfortunately, these tax credits do not reach those lowest income that are most would be most impacted by these credits. So kind of in that way, highlighting how important it is to advocate for these rebates to really reach those that need it most. But yes, if you can, stacking the tax credits will make those incentives go so much further and just really benefit you. But we have to be aware that some people don't have that opportunity to have these incentives.
Excellent flag too. And that goes back to when we're thinking about renters and those who are experiencing the highest impacts. If you're, high energy burdened and there's, sky high rent, and you may be on other income qualified programs like WIC, food stamps, or anything, where you may not get a tax, you'll probably get a tax refund instead. So, yeah, exactly like you said, Ernest, just thinking about, who is incentivized to participate, and there's if these dollars are reaching the communities that need them the most. So we're going to open the floor for a few questions. Ernest is here to help answer some top level questions, and South Face is connected to really great resources regarding this funding or these rebates and potential tax incentives. But for more technical questions, we may have to go, to some other resources. But Ernest is here to answer any questions that may have come up. So if you'd like to put them in the chat or come off mute to ask, feel free.
Yeah, thank you, Ty. I'll just say, yeah, not going to claim I'm an expert in this in any way, but happy to share my knowledge, and anything that I'm not certain of, I'm happy to get your information and go figure out and get back to you. I'd be happy to, because these kind of questions are stuff that I want to know too.
No one? Okay, that's fine, because maybe, we'll get into the House meetings and it might spark something.
Could I ask when they think that JEPA is gonna actually put these programs into use? And maybe we're waiting for a while,
Yeah, great question. We're asking the same thing, but right now it kind of seems like hopefully that application will be in by September, and hopefully early 2025, those rebates will roll out. I've heard some whispers of it potentially coming a little bit earlier, but I don't want to get my hopes up. Be realistic at this time, especially with how much it's been pushed further and further. So that's my vague answer at this point.
And are there any I guess all these states are having the same thing, and I heard that they're not coming out that fast, but is South Face connecting with other South Face like organizations all over to find the best ways to do these things?
I'll say we haven't directly engaged any others. I will say in some discussions with individuals plugged into this space, it seems like some of the states like Hawaii and other 5 states that I think have submitted their application at this point, there is different difficulties or level of complexities of applications, and those 5 states have chosen apparently an easier route. I can't give you specifics on that, but that was the argument that GIFA was making, that they've taken a more comprehensive approach. So hopefully that's a good thing, but unfortunately it means it's later than we expected.
Okay, great. Thank you.
But great point. And that's been something I've been wanting to get more involved in, is seeing where these other states are at. What are their challenges? What are their successes? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and I don't have a set date right now, but I will drop in the chat a GIFA update link or update email. They'll send you updates unless Ty already has that. They'll let you know when there's any updates regarding the rebate program.
No, you should do it. You should put it in the link. I get
Cool.
those too. And we
Mhm.
didn't think to put those in there. But if you have it, yeah. please drop it.
Definitely.
Oh, you have it, Leah?
Yeah, it's in the presentation.
Okay. I
I
thought so. Yeah.
can drop it now, and then I can also drop it.
At the end. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I understand it was information, it was a lot of information. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this is to, if you have not been thinking about this, to get you to start thinking about this. And so now we're going to go, and Leah just dropped it in there, and just sign up for it, because you will constantly, they're having something next week, I think. Some information about things that are going on. I don't know if it's necessarily has to do with the rebate, but I think it's something else. So you'll get these alerts. All right, is the next one the House meetings?
Yes.
Okay, so hold tight. If something comes to mind, we can bring it up in the House meetings. Ty's going to take a moment and explain to you what those are. If this is the first time coming with us, first of all, Ernest, we want to put you in a breakout room, so I hope you didn't leave us. Okay, because folks
Still
might have
here.
a question. Yeah. Princess, when you put Ernest in the room, make sure you put him in the room with me, either me or Ty, or if Leah's going to stay in the main room.
He's
Yeah.
he's in the room with you so far. I've already done the split of
Okay.
it.
Awesome.
And so I'll just have Ty join room 1. But automatically you, Camille, and Ernest are in 1. And then we have Leah, Ty, and Drew and Ernest. No, I'm sorry, Leah, Ty, and Drew and the other.
Okay, awesome. That is awesome. All right, Ty.
Thank you so much, Adrienne and Princess. So I'm gonna break down a little bit of one of my favorite organizing tools, and that's the House meeting. So House meetings in the past were used for, really it was an extension of a way of being, I like to think, that Black and people of color have used throughout time, right? There were certain conversations that you have outside of the home, and then certain things that the safest place for you to have that kind of conversation is in the house. And when we're talking about doing paradigm shifts, like shifting into a clean energy economy that is regenerative and restorative to all from where we are right now, some of those conversations that are more, revolutionary happen within the home. So that was the original idea of house meetings. So they're meant to build relationships and plan strategies for action. And they're key in building relational power to make sustainable systemic change. So some places that you've probably, some points in history that you've probably seen that began with house meetings were the organization of the bus boycott in the 1950s, with the farm workers strike, with Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta in California in the 60s and 70s. There were house meetings for disability rights activists. There were house meetings to get the ADA passed. There were house meetings for gender expansive and people with multiple oh goodness, I lost my words. But for queer liberation as well. So it's a really pivotal tool when we talk about getting community input and deciding how we move forward together. What's the strategy for moving forward together? So how do they happen and how do we do them? House meetings, they don't have to be necessarily in a house. It can be anywhere, but it's mostly 8 to 12 people that meet together to have a conversation that's both framed and facilitated. There may be some time for getting to know and building relationships, but primarily they're focused on a particular topic and there aren't interruptions in the midst of them. They're timed. And we'll break down once we get into the house meeting format of what our house meeting is going to look like within our small group. Everybody will have about a minute to speak and share their responses to the following question on the next couple of slides. But just in general, a house meeting typically lasts between 60 and 90 minutes, and it can happen virtually like we're doing tonight, or it could happen in person. So as I said, history of house
But
meetings.
it will not be 60 to 90 minutes tonight. We're only
No.
going to be in the rooms for like 15 to 20 minutes.
Right.
Oh, what happened to the other pictures with MLK doing the peace sign? Y'all wrong. You got him. Y'all changed it up. Okay, whatever. Yeah. So this is more of the house meetings began with the United Farm Workers Campaign and the Civil Rights Movement. And we use this tool, and we're going to be having a 3-day organizing workshop in Juneteenth. And we're really going to get more, and you're going to learn more about the tools that we use for organizing and building power.
Yes, very much looking forward to that. So yeah, that's a little bit of the history. Highly encourage looking up how house meetings have been used in a lot of the organizing movements throughout the years. It's really, really powerful stuff. So let's get into our house meeting for tonight. So our main question, our grounding question is, how could these rebate programs be tailored to work for you and those within your community? When you think of who makes up your community, do these rebate programs map on to, something that could be useful for you and your community? We'll take a few minutes. Let's take a couple of minutes to think about this question once we get within our breakout rooms. And then the facilitator will guide everyone and remind everyone, each person within the breakout room will have about a minute to speak. And then we'll all come back together and debrief what we spoke about in our house meetings. So I'll hand it over to Princess to break us out. Make sure that you go into one room or the other, please. And yeah, we'll just need one timekeeper and one facilitator in each room, and we should be good to go.
I got you. So I will give you all a 2-minute warning. I'm going to go ahead and break everybody out into your breakout rooms. Ty, you will have to join breakout room number 1. Miss Linda, I'm also going to place you in there because you just got here. So everybody, y'all enjoy. I'll see y'all back in 15 minutes.
Hey, Miss
Hey, Miss Linda. We miss you.
Linda. All right.
Sorry, I can't get my video to work.
Oh, no.
It's all right. Y'all don't need to see me.
No, it's a joy to hear your
See you guys.
So it's a joy to hear you and see you as well. Everybody should be leaving out. All right.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Oh.
Really quick.
I got you. It's gonna be super quick. Ty, I'm gonna jump on with my keys and I'll be back on, but just you know how to join room number 1, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. I will bring you all back on shortly. Miss Linda, I'm gonna send you to room number 1 with Ty, okay?
Yes. Thanks.
I'll talk to you after the meeting. Miss you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right.
Do all your work for you.
Well, then you need to get up here and do it. Hey, Makiva.
But I'm done eating.
Are you finished eating? No?
Hey,
Hey,
please, can
Makiva.
you not put me in a group, please?
Yes, I'll put you back in. I think you
No,
were
no,
in.
I don't want to go in the group.
Oh, don't put you in a group. Okay. Okay. I won't put you in a group. I'm sorry. I just got off the phone with Marquise. I had some hiccups. My mind wasn't right yesterday, and I just sent all the payment documents in, and
Hmm.
I missed a couple documents somewhere, somehow, but it's okay. He helped me walk through it, and we got it taken care of. You doing okay?
Yes, you know it's recording.
Mm-mm.
Hmm?
Sorry, but either way,
It's okay. But I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me of that. Okay, well,
Hold
thank
on
you.
real quick.
Okay, thank you for jumping on.
Okay.
Let me send a 2-minute warning, okay?
Okay.
Adrian, you're on mute if you're speaking. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you, Princess.
You're welcome. As I can see your lips moving. I just
You
couldn't
see me talking? Okay. Okay, I'm trying to usher people back in. Come back in, y'all. Come back in. Okay. Ty is now the host. Ty, what I stated that people would do is we would pick somebody from our group to kind of give us a recap of what was going on and what was said in the group. If that's okay. All right.
That's perfect. Let me grab or get the screen back up.
Awesome. All right. I'm trying to look and see. Let me see. I hate to do it to the people who are on screen, but you're on screen. I'm gonna call you out. And I'm thinking that I'm gonna go with Keaton. Can you give us a recap of our group?
Oh,
We
wow.
talked about.
Moving off that screen.
He was looking, he was looking like, please don't say me, please don't say me.
I mean, everyone except for one of us was a renter. And we talked about stacking more, and we talked about not having a lot that we can do with what we're doing. For me, I brought up that, you know, this is a good place to have ammo when you get out in the community to have something like you can help, you know, you can put your money into these things. They're going to help it work longer. So at my work at the hospital and at churches, we can, you know, do this for people. And we talked about the legacy home, and we tried to figure out, is there a
Hello? Am I the only one not hearing Keaton right now?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I can't either.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. He was dropped. So I also thought Amina had something really good to add to it. Amina, do you mind sharing?
Sure. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Is my audio on?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I was speaking of maybe the possibility of a partnership of the rebate program and possibly some brands of these energy efficiency appliances that are being suggested, because that would potentially offset the upfront cost that is required of a participant of a rebate program. Maybe a waiver can be produced, or maybe some type of special discount can be offered. I just thought that would be beneficial on both ends, and maybe would break down a barrier that would prevent someone from jumping into this opportunity.
Awesome. And I would just like to open it up and ask, like, if anybody from our group would like to add anything. If not, you speak now. Okay. Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna hand it over to Ty.
And for our group, would anybody like to talk about a couple of the things that we talked about?
You know, you gotta be bold like me. You gotta volunteer.
Volunteer.
I will,
Drew?
I'll speak.
Okay.
I didn't really.
Okay, or yeah, I'll let Ms. Linda
Are
go.
you ready? You ready? Go ahead.
No, y'all tag team.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
you go ahead. You go first.
Listen, let Miss Linda speak.
I didn't really answer the question about the rebates because I came in late, so I didn't really know what that was exactly about. But I did share my story when people were talking about being displaced. And so I shared my story about being displaced because the rent kept going up. And I was there for 7 years, started out with $1,000, wound up with $1,200. I won't say that my energy bills were that high. I don't know about City of East Point. They have some weird contracts they've signed for like 50 years that we can't get out of. But I did just share that I no longer live in Atlanta and that I'm in Las Vegas now. and how the rent went up twice in, 150 one year and then another 50 the last year. But they were selling. They were decent people that I was renting from. They always responded to problems, but they didn't make any improvements. They just kept raising the rent. And they were saying, oh, my insurance rates are going up. I'm like, so are mine. My car insurance, my life insurance, whatever, my bills. But I just had to get out of there. I didn't want to look for another apartment or another house. Really, I like houses better, but I just didn't think I would be able to find anything that I could afford.
And I want to let y'all know, thank you, first of all, Miss Linda, for sharing that. We really was not expecting that, but Miss Linda was one of our Canvas ambassadors, and I was just a wonderful Canvas ambassador. Really, you can tell by her spirit that what she brought. And it's like, this displacement, all of this stuff is hitting home for us, because we're seeing this happen to people. And I mean, we really, Miss Linda said to us, I wish I would have met y'all like 2 or 3 years ago, because I would have been able to stay. But this is like, her displacement is like indicative of so many things that is happening with Georgia and Atlanta in general that is displacing people. And sometimes displacing them from their neighborhoods further on out to places where the transportation system is not the best, in these counties that are out there, and we are really not connected in the right way. And then sometimes they have to leave the state altogether. So, I mean, Georgia is truly missing out without having Miss Linda here, because just a great community leader and activist. Thank you for sharing that. Drew, you were about to say something.
Yeah. So with all of that in mind about how Atlanta has become, more of a renter city, we were thinking about like ways we could organize around making sure that there are stipulations, whether it be, on landlords or, the program itself, to make sure that it's tailored to those that, have the most to gain. And really, I think that a lot of people have concerns about who this would really benefit, on a lot of different, levels. But at the same time, there's potential benefit in, tax credits and things like that. We just need to tailor, we don't want to throw it away. We just need to tailor the program so that we can get the most out of everything. And I think, with it being a little bit of time before it's, set to come to fruition, that we have a little bit of an opportunity to, dive in and organize around that.
Indeed.
That was the main goal of our group.
I love that. I love that. And that's part of what SGF is about. We see that we can't just be focused on workforce development. We cannot just be focused on entrepreneurship or trying to get our communities, which we really want them to be a part of this clean energy workforce and economy. We have to build power, y'all. And, it's a lot of things that is happening, because if we don't build power and engage people and educate people and organize people, we can be upset and mad all we want, but nothing is going to change. And so change comes with building power. And that's what we're trying to do. I know we're going to do this with certain folks. And I think that we are, beyond time right now. We have a couple more slides, ways that you can get engaged in different ways. We have these meetings every third Thursday of the month. We're going to, as we said, in June, we're going to be having a Juneteenth organizing workshop. Leah just put in the chat, if you are in Georgia, we go out and go on the doors every week, at least 3 days out of the week, 2 to 3 days out of the week. We're knocking on doors from 10. We have 2 shifts, 10 into 2 and 3 into 6. We're knocking on doors, we're engaging with people, we're letting them know about Weatherize, we're letting them know about what's going on, and you can come and join us. And then there's other ways that you can, hey, they're saying the link isn't working, y'all. There we go. That's the link, that's it. Try to reshare it again. And then this is the sign up for GFA as well. All right, we'll do it one more time. And then I think, and this is the home rebate, the volunteer SGF. And do we have another one? Another slide?
Yes.
Thank
And this one is just a big thank you for joining us tonight. We do, as Adrian said, have a few opportunities for you to get involved. And one of them is continuing to come to climate justice education meetings. Like Adrian said, we hold this space every third Thursday of the month, 6 p.m. to 7:30 Eastern. And our next climate justice education meeting will be on Black women's contributions to environmental justice movements. So it's going to be a little bit of like a history retrospective, like good girlfriend boost fest. It's going to be like lots of love within the space. So very, very much encourage you to attend and bring a friend. You can follow us on most social media platforms. Anywhere that Elon Musk is not, where we are. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our website is sustainablegafutures.org. And we've been sharing a few kind of sneak peeks leading into our April meeting. So if you're interested in checking those out to get a little bit of insight into what we have coming up, please feel free to scan the QR code or visit Mobilize. You can find our CJEM page on our website as well. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank you for the insightful conversation. Thank you for sharing your stories.
Thank you, Southface.
And thank you so much to Ernest and Southface.
Doris, thank you so much for having us here. Really wonderful discussion. I'm happy to be part of this today.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much. We
Ernest.
love working with y'all.
Here, we'll keep it going.
Okay.
Everybody have a great night. Thank you so much.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone. Take care.
everybody. Thank
See you
you for
next time.
coming.
Bye.
I live one by so fast. Oh, Susan, did you?
CJ wants to say bye.
Thank you.
Reaching, you have to lean in. You have to lean in. Stop breathing so hard. You have to lean into the camera.
Did you ask me something, Adrian?
Oh, hi, cutie.
Hi.
Back up a little bit.
No, Susan, I was just trying to see if you wanted anything.
I'm good. Yeah, let me know when you have a time to look at calendars.
Indeed, indeed. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Okay.
Was Ruth on tonight, or was that her son?
Oh, Ruth said that she couldn't join us tonight. Miss
it's okay,
Linda, we
Linda.
miss you.
Miss Linda, we definitely miss you.
I still don't have the time zone right. I was counting from Central Time instead of.
Ah!
That's why I was late.
Oh, you're good.
You're good. You're
Better
good.
late than never. We're glad to see you either way. Come,
Yes.
Thank you so much. Y'all look wonderful. Y'all look so beautiful.
Thank you.
Love
So
So do you.
how is it there? Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm on Charleston Street, Charleston Boulevard, and another one called the cross street is Lindale Road, and my complex is called Lindale Living. And I just could take Charleston Boulevard all the way to Red Rock, and on the other side of that is California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I was driving down, I think we saw mileage like 456 miles to LA.
Oh, wow.
When I was just about heading into Las Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's only
So
like 3 hours
I
from
plan
there,
to go.
right?
I plan to drive there. Yeah, sometime. But what
It's
you say?
only like
Princess?
3 hours, I think.
3 or 4, I believe, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, are you, you gotta jump. Okay, bye, Leah.
Bye.
Hi, Leah.
Hope Vegas is
Yeah.
cool. I'll see y'all.
See you
Okay.
soon. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye. Well, I'm just so glad you joined us and we got a chance to see your face. Please come
Yes.
to